Hi, I'm Wendy, and the other day I brought you a video about storyboarding and the power and the importance of storyboarding when putting together a presentation. I said I would come back again later to talk to you about how to actually do a storyboard. So there are a few ways that you can do it, and I'm going to go through each one of them. Now, the first one is a traditional paper storyboard, and I don't mind this. There are a few pros to it. So, you are actually taking a pen and paper, which is, very traditional. It's quite a tactile experience. So you are actually writing it out. You're perhaps writing points. You're making boxes around them. You're putting all your ideas down on paper. So you can actually see it really quite visually. And there is a lot of power in the connection between the brain and the pen and the paper. It really doesn't require any special tools or software or know-how, simply a pen and paper. Obviously, some of the cons to that is that, it is a little bit limited because it isn't a software application. Sometimes it can be a little bit more challenging to make changes and revisions to that. And of course, it's less portable. Bit hard to carry around a big storyboard, physical storyboard with you. However, I don't mind the traditional approach. So, create on a large sheet of paper. You can lay it on a desk. You can put it up on the wall, or pin it to a whiteboard or a notice board. And with each point you create or slide, you can create boxes around them and list your points in alphabetical order and plan out the scene, the story for each scene rather. Now, another way to do that is to also add in arrows and lines to indicate the flow and the connections between each different section of your presentation. Now, the second strategy you can use for storyboarding is using digital storyboarding software. And there are quite a number of software applications out there on the market at the moment. So the pros and cons of that: the pros, ease of editing. So it's very easy to rearrange, to modify, to duplicate, to eliminate, to delete. So you can use those particular tools to help you. You can find some amazing visual templates with extraordinary colours and designs that will help you. And you can collaborate with other people who are not necessarily in the same room as you at that time, but it does enable real-time collaboration with others who might be elsewhere. Of course, some cons to this is that, it does require some learning and knowledge and some skill. And if you're not very au fait with those type of digital applications, it can take a bit of time in the beginning to learn them. How do you create a digital storyboard? Well, try and use specialized software like Microsoft PowerPoint, Google Slides, Adobe Spark, or there are specific storyboard tools such as Storyboard that. Create your slides and frames representing each section of the presentation. You can then add in the content or take it away as you want, adding in text, images, graphs, videos, all kinds of multimedia elements to each slide. Then you can obviously then rearrange your slides in a very logical sequence. Remember what I talked about in my first video about being very logical and coherent and keeping in mind the flow of the presentation. Now, the third thing that you can do is to actually brainstorm, and you can, do it on your own, but I always think it's good if you can get other people on board. So, two heads are better than one and many heads are better than two. So the pros with that, you've got some flexibility. It's a very free-form activity, a very free-form approach that encourages a lot of creativity, a lot of innovative outside-the-box thinking. It's also, again, a very visual way. So you might have people who work better in a visual way to express their ideas and to participate and collaborate. So this is a very visual way of putting your ideas together, drawing, sketching, any sort of abstract concept or design that you can get up in a sort of a symbolic image, graphic form will be great. Obviously, perhaps the disadvantages to this is that it is a little bit less structured. If you are doing it on your own, then you are relying just on your own brilliance, which might be enough, who knows. But I always think it's good to get other people on board with that, because, you know, other people bring other perspectives to it and other ideas. So it allows for a little bit more creative, outside the box thinking. Obviously, if it's up on a big whiteboard, that's going to be a little bit difficult to take anywhere. It's sort of an immovable object. Okay, so, you know, start with the central idea. You can either have like a cloud image or a box or just a circle, and then branch out. You'll have lines going in different directions around the main central idea. So a bit like creating a mind map, if you like. Sketch out some rough representations of your ideas alongside the brainstormed concepts. And then you might want to even group some of those ideas. So you might start off as it being very, very unstructured and random all over the place. And then you might have a look at it, step back, get a big sort of big picture visual representation and say, oh, well, there are some ideas that could be grouped together. So let's, you know, group that idea, let's group that idea and put them together to help you establish some sort of sequence, some sort of logical sequence. I go back to logic again, a logical flow and a logical sequence for your presentation. Really, you know, I've given you 3 ideas. It's up to you. Why not incorporate all 3? I think there's some merit in actually using all 3, because they use different parts of the brain, and if you're working on that with other people, perhaps you might like the brainstorming idea. There may be other people in your group who prefer the traditional pen and paper, and then there may be others in the group who might prefer and are very adept at using the digital apps. So, you know, use all 3, try them out, and I'm sure you'll come up with some brilliant storyboarding ideas.